Hi guys, I am back in Braga in my office, and last night I had a chance to catch up with one of my favorite podcasts, which is The Wellness Scoop. I agree with so many things that Ella and Ree talk about. I disagree with many as well. I do my own research. I work in naturopathy, so I have a different perspective of some things. But for the broad base, I agree with them. On many of the issues that they bring forth. Last night they talked about veganism and plant-based, and again, it comes with nuisance. This is why I wanted to share this. So, rightfully said in the podcast, there is a difference between plant-based and vegan, in the sense that veganism is actually a moral issue. I just don't understand why, Ella, you were really like, I am not vegan, like, as if it's a bad thing. I know it's a lot of work to change certain things, but at the same time, actually, it's not. When I became vegan, I didn't get rid of all the things that I had, and I think this is probably one of the stops a lot of people think, like, oh my God, if I'm vegan, I have to give up my, old leather jacket and bag. We also don't want waste, and if you had something that was animal-based before in your house, then you're not gonna get rid of it. The point is that when you go forward, you make better choices. If you call not to wear it for whatever reason and you want to donate it, of course you can do that too. For environmental reasons, being vegan is actually best, and so that actually does trickle down beyond the food. But yeah, when it comes to the food, the recipes overlap, and this is why veganism and plant-based are confused sometimes. And again, I really agree with her, because a lot of creators online, I've noticed, they use the word vegan but they're not vegan. I think when you become plant-based at some point, you actually do, I hope, tackle the ethics. Our nature is in danger, where animals are treated poorly, and where you understand that your actions are impacting other living beings negatively, where we're taking the choice of life away from another living being because we think we're superior. It begs the question of our humanity, but also where we're going forward, especially if we know that we can be on a plant-based diet and be healthy. I do reprehend a lot of vegans that are just eating crappy food, which is the equivalent of a standard American or standard Western diet, but vegan. And I know for a fact, and from personal experience, that is damaging to your health. So we need to bring it back to whole food, plant-based. When you are vegan, please look after yourself. Exercise, walk, socialize, look after your life. But the plant part is really important. And if in that encompassing holistic approach, you can include the compassion for yourself, compassion for other beings, then it's a win-win. And when you do that, then sure, you start seeing some products, maybe your skin routine has to change. So you can have vegan skincare that is amazing. You can buy clothing now that is eco-friendly and also vegan at the same time. But I think the point is that we are here on this planet to be ushers, and just saying I am going to be plant-based and I'm not going to be vegan, why don't we actually be open-minded and think, you know what, I'm going to be plant-based, I want to do it for my health, I want to do it for the environment, but I'm going to also try and bring that positive input in my ethics. Why not? Like, why is it so hard? It's not actually hard. It's a change. And we are promoting change here. We're promoting people, like, especially on the Wellness Scoop, right? You guys are promoting changes that are helpful, even if they're small. And this applies to you too. Maybe you don't have to go fully vegan overnight, in the sense of, like, you don't have to change everything. And as I said, you don't have to give up everything you have at home. You don't have to give up your car. As Ree said, car seats are made of leather in most cars. So yeah, you're not gonna sell your car because if you have it already, like, it's reckless. Who does that? And it's waste. So, but you are going to be mindful of your next steps, your next purchase. And I think that's the way that we are going to make improvements. And veganism is not on the way out. What's happening, however, is that because we live in a media sphere where we sensationalize everything, because of the carnivore sensationalism, because of everything else, we are seeing a decrease of input and sharing of veganism. And this comes also because we talk about environment, but there are a lot of environmentalists who are either ignorant or hypocritical about how they approach things because they don't encompass the diet, which is why I myself joining Plant-Based Treaty, I did it for that. I did it because I want to educate environmentalists, and I have a lot of friends. I mean, I work in environment. I have a project that I don't get paid for here in Braga, in Portugal. We're going to expand all over Portugal and hopefully globally eventually, where we are working on that. I have a lot of friends that are environmentalists who do not eat a plant-based diet. They're like, they don't understand the connection with the meat industry. And I'm like, how can you not see this? There is work to do and education, which is why I want to inspire people to go plant-based for many, many reasons. And environment and veganism, honestly, they go together. So there's no separation. There is just a lot of sensationalism online, but like, you have to take a stand as well, right? What do you stand for? What are you teaching your children? What are you teaching your community if you don't have children, or anyone in your life? Like, how are you impacting them in the sense that how are we going to all take responsibility for ourselves and for the planet we live on? Because we're not eternal and we leave. But if you have people you care about that are much younger than you, and they're going to be here, the world is already a very difficult place. It's already falling apart because we have morons running it. And we have to really become spokespeople, ushers, and responsible human beings for taking actions that are going to benefit everything and everyone. And it's not just for one reason. So this is why I see veganism as actually not dying, is growing by making these connections, but it takes time. So everybody has a mission, right? Like Ella and Ree have a mission on health, on nutrition. There is a balance of everything. And I think this is where, the conversations are needing to be longer, nuanced, mindful. But I would like to highlight that it would really be important to actually mention that it's not as separate as you made it sound in the episode to be vegan and plant-based. And it's also not as difficult, and it's also not as judgmental. And I think if you embraced it a little bit more, you would see that every choice you make with that positive impact, you feel really good about yourself. I went into plant-based for health, so I understand this. But when I went plant-based, I also had this epiphany. I love animals. I have my dog. I love animals, but why is my dog different to a cow and a pig? And so I became vegan. The ethics touched me. And I understand when we're disconnected, we don't see them, we don't go and spend time with animals. We are so... And also the dissonance of our upbringing, because our parents didn't know better. And I was like that for 31 years of my life. So who am I to judge when I was the one that if anybody came to me and said, you should be vegan, I'd be like, please, I'm not a hippie. I understand. I totally get it. But we are in a point in time where, although social media can be messy, it can give a lot of information. So now there's no excuse, right? There's no excuse not to go. We know that we can get enough protein. Everybody needs fiber. We know that we can live healthily. We know what to supplement and how. And we know how to be healthy on a solely plant-based diet if we seek advice. Go and see practitioners who are actually focused on plant-based. I'm fully plant-based. I think Ree does a lot of, she's vegetarian, so she can coach on a plant-based approach if you wanted to try that. Loads of doctors are plant-based out there. I have interviewed many on my podcast. So we have access to nutritionists. I'm having my friend Brenda Davis back on my podcast again next week because she's amazing. So she's a dietitian, registered dietitian. She's actually responsible for advising the Canadian food guideline, dietary guidelines, which are way better than anywhere else in the world, to be honest. And it's amazing. So we have access to information, we can get knowledge, and we can then tweak according to what we personally need. So I beg of you, become responsible, not just for your health, and of course for your health first, because if you are thriving, you will make better decisions. And that also includes maybe having a little bit more compassion and really taking on that veganism is part of our life, because we are really ushers of this planet. If you love nature and you love animals, don't let it stop at your garden and at your pets. Let it broaden up to a whole planet, because we all really need it. Our planet needs it. That was my message. I hope this touches you guys, girls. And it's a very heartfelt sharing. I hope this makes you understand my point of view, and this is why I responded to your podcast segment on veganism and plant-based. So have a great day. Bye.